So, guys, we got a little bit of music news. Edwin shares this, and I also, definitely wanted to talk about this today. Um, and this is a bummer. This is a big bummer. You guys know I'm a big punk rock guy, and the lead singer of the Muffs is no longer with us. Kim Shattuck, singer and guitarist for LA punk rockers the Muffs, has died at 56. More recently, she was also touring with the Pixies. In fact, I'm pretty sure the last time I saw the Pixies, she was there. Not the last time, because the last time I saw the Pixies was just a couple weeks ago. She was not there then. And people were wondering why she wasn't touring with them anymore, and it likely was because of these health complications. So here's what happened. The influential musician, this is according to the article here by Guitar World, the influential musician who also played with the Pixies and others succumbed to complications from LAS. Kim Shattuck, best known as the singer, guitarist, and co-founder of the long-running LA punk trio The Muffs, has died after a 2-year battle with ALS. We're very sorry to announce the passing of our bandmate and dear friend, wrote Muffs members Ronnie Barnett and Roy McDonald. Besides being a brilliant songwriter, rocking guitarist, and singer-screamer extraordinaire, Kim was a true force of nature. While battling ALS, Kim produced our last album, overseeing every part of the record from tracking to artwork. She was our best friend, and playing her songs was an honor. Goodbye, Kimba. We love you more than we could ever say. She got her start playing in an all-female LA hard rock act at the Pandoras in the 1980s. She played bass in that group, but she switched over to guitar and started the Muffs in 1991. Some of the guitarists that she references here in the article that really influenced her: Brian Setzer, John Lennon, Dave Davies from the Kinks. Interesting crop there. Dave Davies from the Kinks, John Lennon, Brian Setzer. Kind of three. They all kind of have a rockabilly style in common a little bit. I mean, John was more of a chugga guy, right? Like John was more, the kind of like slick leads and stuff. That was more George, or sometimes even Paul. John was the more like chugga rhythmic, very chord virtuoso guitarist. Dave Davies, I think, is very similar in that regard. And then Brian Setzer, of course, is kind of just a very flashy player. Brian Setzer's a very top-notch guitar player. His music isn't really my cup of tea personally. I kind of, even the Stray Cats I thought was a little cheesy, and his solo stuff didn't really do much for me either. As far as like, I prefer the more kind of grit rockabilly like the Blasters or something like that. But, I certainly appreciate the musicianship. So that's an interesting crop that she names there. But Kim Shattuck, my first exposure to the Muffs was I heard their cover of Kids in America, which is killer. It's so good. And I heard that when I was like 10. And, I think that type of power pop punk rock is something that you can really connect with when you're really young, because there's a certain youthful joy to it. And I still appreciate all that music to this day. I still love all that music to this day. But the Muffs were one of the earlier things I heard that were, I think, kind of approachable enough for somebody who had never heard punk rock before. Like I had never really heard punk rock, and stuff like The Clash and the Muffs and Rancid, sort of like a good way to ease into it, because it has more of the kind of basic rock and roll elements that I was used to hearing at that point in my life. But it still kind of gave me this kind of youthful, fast driving, rhythmic joy that I hadn't really experienced that side of it yet. So I remember all that, and eventually, that kind of expanded into more 77 punk rock, and then 80s hardcore, and then the list goes on and on and on of stuff that I was able to get into after that. But the Muffs were very much pioneers in that. They were very influential, and I'm not as hip to their catalog as I should be. The song that Edwin recommends, Sad Tomorrow, that's Edwin recommends Sad Tomorrow. So that's going to be our song of the day and our artist of the day. Our artist of the day is, of course, the Muffs. Kim Shattuck, rest in power. And just check out the Muffs in general. But the track that Edwin recommends, Sad Tomorrow. So check out that track, Sad Tomorrow. Kim Shattuck, rest in power.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your